Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the Oppo PM-3 planar magnetic headphones. And I've seen a couple of reviews out there. I've seen Tile from Inner Fidelity's review. I've also seen Zed Reviews' comparison of these to the Audio Technica MSR 7s and a couple of other headphones, the NADs as well. And I think it's time I give you my opinion on them. Now, I haven't made a headphone review before, but I would consider myself an audiophile. I'm definitely into audio equipment. I'm definitely into getting as best sound as possible. I listen to uncompressed files, and I've heard a lot of headphones in the past from my experience in mixing and creating music. So, here's my opinion on them. Now, let's first start talking about design. Well, these are built fantastically. Pleather cushions, pleather headband, and aluminium um, sidearms. Um, the gimbal in them is really smooth. The cups rotate. They fit very nicely, and I've a lot of my friends and have tried these headphones, and they're very comfortable in that sense. Um, the clamping pressure initially could be a bit heavy. I definitely just would leave them on a box. Maybe if you wanted to loosen up your head, just literally just wear them, and they will loosen up. I've definitely felt them loosen up. It's got a nice metal, like the metal within the headband is definitely strong enough to withstand stretching. They definitely feel durable. Now, whether you take these on the bus with you, that's a separate question because they're way too nice to be just taken outside. I know they're meant for portability, but the chamfered edges, I mean, they just look too gorgeous when they're new, and there's so many shiny parts to them that I really would not recommend just throwing them around. They're too sophisticated and precious to do that. But I mean, as you can see, I mean, you can even see them from photos online. They look very understated, but very beautiful, very grown up, very sophisticated. Pleather ear cups, they do not get as warm as you might think they would. They're very comfortable, very airy on the inside, even though they have a great seal. Foam on the inside means that your ear, while inside the cup, is still very comfortable. It's a memory foam, and it caresses the ear well. Even my friends with bigger ears have found that these work very nicely for them. Okay, so that's really enough about design. What did you get in the box? Again, you guys must have probably seen this already. Um, from countless unboxings. I'm sorry I couldn't do that because I actually don't have the box with me in the UK here. It's still back in Abu Dhabi. But you get a beautiful case, which is, well, actually, I've got it right here, which is a denim case. There. I'm not sure if you guys saw it very well. But it's a denim case with a very nice interior. Protects the headphones well. One 9-foot cable, a 1.2 meter cable as well, for portable and if you want to use a cable for your hi-fi system or when you're monitoring or whatever. And you also get, well, a choice of one other cable, be it an Android or an iOS cable. You get that through ordering through the Oppo website. So, I mean, great box. Definitely, you get a sense of quality. They're very nice headphones. On the weight, by the way, 320 grams, something like that. I'm not sure of the exact number. So obviously heavy for normal headphones, but for planar magnetics, impressively light. I have not seen. I've worn the LCD threes. I've worn some hi-fi mids. For planar magnetics, portable planar magnetics, apart from the Odyssey EL8, these just blow my mind with how they're so efficient and so easy to drive and portable, and they're planar magnetic. So for their weight as planar magnetics, phenomenal, and you don't feel that weight either. They're very comfortable. They make up. They can easily just counteract that weight which is upon them. Now, sound, which is obviously why most of you are here, because once you invest in headphones like this, you're serious about your sound. These are definitely not style cans. These cans are designed for you to really enjoy that sound. Now, planar magnetics. I hope you've done your research about that because that's what sets these apart. A 7 diaphragm driver, obviously minimal distortion because of that sense, because you don't have you have equal distribution of pressure across the entire speaker diaphragm. So you reduce that distortion that you get from placing pressure on one point on a dynamic normal coiled speaker. So that's your differentiating feature here. Now, talking about specs, and these do have some impressive specs for what they are. 26 ohm impedance, very low impedance. They have an SPL of 102 decibels, and it just takes 1 milliwatt to drive them, which is, again, I mean, they're very, very efficient. And, 55 millimeter diameter drivers in such a small package. Great. And the frequency response, 10 hertz to 50,000 hertz. Now, while human hearing is just 20 to 20 kilohertz. still, I mean, the extra frequency response, it's just impressive. It's seriously, it's just impressive, and it will have effects on certain mixing needs. Like you'll have that extension on your diaphragm, on your headphones, which is a big bonus. Like I'm seriously impressed by the specs of these headphones and their efficiency, and the fact that they're planars. Now onto actual detailed like reviewed specs of them. Now these I'm reading this data all off Tile from Inner Fidelity's review of these. He's done a really good job explaining them, and from the charts, and I've even noticed this when I'm mixing. They're very neutral headphones. They're very flat. They're definitely not warm, which is what I've come to expect from certain planars. I know that sounds crazy because you say planars have to be like they're reference. They're neutral. Not always. So take the Audizies, LCD2. They definitely tend to have a darker sound. They definitely tend to be warmer sounding. Not these. Even the PM1s and the Oppo PM2s, they tend to be warmer, but these are very neutral, but still very lively, very forward. Even though they have an open soundstage, surprisingly open for a closed back headphone, they still sound very lively. The neutrality, while great if you're listening to well-recorded tracks, can also be a downfall when you're listening to dubstep or tracks that require a big bass slam, which these don't have. They have bass. It's very well controlled. It's very accurate. It's very present. But it's not a slam. It's not something that you get from the LCD2s. But that's an unfair comparison because those are so much more expensive than these. These are just $400, which if you ask me, is a bargain. Like they're amazing for that price. But yeah, I would use these for just chilled back, just listening at medium volumes to some properly recorded tunes. Which brings me on to whether you need a DAC or an amp for these. Now, if you've spent $400 on headphones, while you could power these through your phone and they can get to a decent volume, I've powered them through my HTC One M8, which is notorious for having a good DAC and amp. My Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus, not so great of an amp inside, but it can still power them enough to get decent volume out of them. And through my laptop's crappy built-in Realtek card, they sound okay. Like they sound already better than many headphones would from those jacks. But if these scale so well, so I mean, please, if you're spending the money on these, just also spend money getting a decent amp. I've run these through the FIO E11K, which is just an amp, not a DAC. Good improvement in sound. I've run them through the FIO K1. Well, I haven't run them through yet. I've actually ordered it, but I will be running them through that. I'm going to update you when that comes, when that arrives from shipping. I've also run them through the Oppo HA2s, which are Oppo's designed amp for these. I mean, they were released at the same time. And through the HA2s, it just sounded phenomenal. The soundstage was improved. Clarity, instrument separation was vastly improved. And I would definitely, these scale very well, like I said, I would definitely consider getting a decent DAC, a decent amp, to match these. Be it even if you're going for portability as well, because that's the whole theme behind these. You can easily just go for the Cambridge DAC Magic X7. You can go for a lot of portable DACs that will definitely improve the sound. So step one, please get a DAC and amp for these. They will sound, you will really unlock their potential. Now moving on to the frequency response in more detail. So very flat, but you have a bit of a roll off, just a bit of a dip, not a roll off, just a dip. At around 6,000 to 7,000 hertz, which is the area of sibilance, as Sal mentioned. And I've noticed that drop. So when I'm recording through my Blue Yeti microphone right here, side note on that, by the way, this has a 16 ohm output amplifier, which is what I've got these headphones plugged into. Not the greatest match. I mean, literally, the amp inside the Blue microphone really is not a great match for these headphones because of its high impedance output. But it still sounds better than just going through my laptop. So just that's another case in point for the DAC amp thing. But yeah, back to the frequency response. While I make the S sounds through here, I can definitely, there's a reduction. There's no sibilance that I would have gotten while recording through my 568s or while trying out my friends' M50s. That's a good thing. Now, if you're mixing, you want accuracy, you want to cut off that S sound from your music, it's not a great thing. It's not fantastic. I would much rather have it just flat without that, I think they did it on purpose because, that's, you would reduce that sound. It's not a nice sound to have, but still. So there's a reduction there, and there's a tiny roll-off on the treble. Don't make it seem as bad as your review made you believe, because in his video, when he compared it to the NAD and when he compared it to the MSR7s, he said these sound like you put cotton in them. They sound veiled as shit, to quote him. Well, no, Okay, fine. Maybe if you compare them to analytical headphones like the M50s, which definitely have a V shape, which have a boosted treble, then fine. Then maybe you'd notice that these have that roll off in treble, that definite muffle. But it's not like a roll off don't think it's that cheap roll off where it's just full of mids and no clarity and no crystal airiness. There's a lot of airiness. There's a lot of clarity in these headphones. It's actually a good roll off because over a long time I tend to get less fatigued with these. I've been wearing these for hours and my ears don't get tired. Definitely a bonus there. So yeah, just expect a bit of a roll off in treble. But as a whole, I mean, they're very, very reference headphones. I definitely would use them for mixing. They are closed back, but still, they're surprisingly open for closed back headphones, and they're so neutral, much more neutral than any headphones I've tried so far in that price range, without actually going for proper reference, cans that you'd be paying way more for. But I mean, at that price range, seriously, I would definitely use these for professional use. In fact, I use these when I'm monitoring, when I'm playing guitar through the mic, when I'm, drumming or whatever, or vocals. They're fantastic for professional use as well as consumer use. Their isolation is honestly fantastic. They don't let sound out at low to medium volumes. That's only at the maximum volume will you ever get a bit of sound, and I wouldn't do that to these. Like, they're not meant for head rattling maximum volume raves. They're meant for sophisticated listening to songs that are recorded well. Anyway, I digress. Back to the response chart. So, how is control over the spectrum? So, there's great, and I mean really great separation between your sub bass, bass, and lower mids. There's such great attenuation, such great clarity, just so much control, and such a controlled punch. When you've got bass, usually you tend to get that bit of resonance at the end when the driver can't damp that sound. These are just so fast, so accurate, really impressive with the sound. Lower mids, smooth. Upper mids, extremely smooth. You tend to get a bit of a bump in the upper mids with these headphones. And that's where you get your male and female vocals or things like alto sax. And it just sounds so smooth and liquidy. And in layering, it helps so much. Put Enya, Caribbean Blue, through these, and you'll just be enveloped in that warmth, that sound. Even though they're not tending towards a warm sound, they still do it so well that you can seriously enjoy them. They've got a beautiful mid-range. And the treble, that bit of a roll-off, is great sometimes because you just get to sit there. You just get enveloped by them. Imaging is fantastic on these, especially when you have a good amp. Through my laptop's speaker card, it wasn't fantastic. Put in a decent amp, and imaging starts to come alive. Listening to Hotel California, the Hell Freezes Over live recording, you can, at the beginning when you have the bongos and you have the taps and you have the guitar on the left and the other guitar comes on the right. I mean, you can differentiate fantastically with them. Good imaging, great soundstage, great clarity, slight roll off on the treble, but it's a good thing in most cases, and you can use them for professional use. I would definitely use these for monitoring headphones or for mixing. I mean, in that regard, they're fantastic. Design, like I said, really good. Obviously, maybe getting an amp is a good step forward for these. While you can power them for portable use, they can also work fantastically once you have good equipment. They scale very well. Packaging, fantastic. I mean, honestly, compared to, like I said, the headphones I've listened to, the 568s, M50s, just even 600s. I've listened to a lot of headphones. These are hands down the most impressive in my opinion, especially for that price range. I mean, I am proud to own these, and especially if you're really thinking of buying these and you're thinking of maybe $350 cans, maybe you're looking at, I don't know, something that isn't that expensive. Maybe you're looking at some Fidelius X2s. I don't know, maybe you're looking at those headphones that are close to this price range. I just say, seriously, just get these. If you want to have a beautiful, smooth listening session. Obviously, you want headbanging bass. If you want something that's going to, dubsteppy, just don't look here, because these aren't fun. They're smooth and well, articulated. They're great for smooth jazz. They're great for some pop. They're great for piano. They're great for guitar and rock. Just nothing that's, fun and really loud. These are perfect for you if you like that type of music. So yeah, like I said, if you're looking at headphones that are close to decent range, listen to those groups of music, just go for them, because I have not heard headphones that are better than these in that price range, especially with a decent DAC amp. Anyway, I'll keep you updated with any of the other equipment that I buy, because I'm definitely doing an upgrade and setup in terms of my amping. And yeah, thanks for watching this, and I hope you guys enjoyed my take on these headphones.